Can you hear that? That's the sound of warmth, comfort, and connection. Welcome to Cup of Cocoa and Chat, where we sip, share, and start the day with purpose, peace, and a little sweetness. I am your host, Princess, and I am so glad you're here. Theme Momentum Monday, episode number 15. From Rooted to Ready, How Grounding Yourself Sparks Growth. Release date Monday, July 21st, 2025. So let's get started. So, again, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're tuning in. I am so glad you pressed play. Welcome to Cup of Cocoa and Chat, the podcast, where we savor the moment, think deeply, and listen to real conversations that stir the heart. We share, start the week with intention, warmth, and truth. Our weekly theme is Rooted and Rising. Stay grounded, grow boldly. Our motivation focus today is to activate progress, set tone, take aligned actions. I am your host, Princess, and today is Momentum Monday. Momentum Monday. This week's theme is one I believe we all need, especially in this busy world, and it's called From Rooted to Ready, How Grounding Yourself Sparks Growth. So let's start with section 1. The power of being rooted. The power of being rooted. What it means to be rooted. So let's start with spiritually rooted. To be spiritually rooted means your faith is your foundation. It's knowing who you are and whose you are. It's having a deep, unshakable connection to God that anchors you when life gets noisy or uncertain. Being spiritually rooted always allows you to stand firm in your beliefs and values, even when you're tested. It's prayer before panic, it's trust before trying to control, and it's peace that surpasses understanding. Psalm 1 verse 3, she is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season. She is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season. So now let's go into mentally rooted. Being mentally rooted means your thoughts are grounded in clarity, focus, and intention. You're not easily swayed by comparison, doubt, or distraction. Instead of chasing every new thing, you filter decisions through your purpose and your peace. It's about having a growth mindset while also being present, mindful, and stable in your thinking. So when your mind is rooted in purpose, your steps become more deliberate. Now, let's explore emotionally rooted. Emotionally rooted people don't deny their feelings. They honor them. but they don't live from their emotions. They respond with wisdom. Being emotionally rooted means you're self-aware, you're resilient, and emotionally mature. You don't let temporary feelings pull you away from permanent truths. You can hold space for joy, grief, frustration, and hope without losing your center. So your emotions may shake you, but being rooted keeps you from breaking. Your emotions may shake you, but being rooted keeps you from breaking. Now, rooted in the journey. Let me share a moment from my journey where being grounded carried me through a season of uncertainty. Let me share this moment with you. So when I first decided to truly commit to showing up on social media, not just posting here and there, but being intentional and consistent, it was honestly overwhelming. There were doubts. I had tech frustrations, days when I questioned whether anyone was even listening. But I had to buckle down and go back to my why. My why. I reminded myself that this wasn't just content. It was a calling. This was purposeful work, and I couldn't keep treating it like a hobby, even if I believed it was part of the assignment God gave me. So I grounded myself. I got rooted in prayer, rooted in the message I felt led to share, and rooted in the belief that if I kept showing up with love, truth, and authenticity, growth would come. And it did. Not overnight, but step by step. That season taught me that being rooted doesn't always mean having it all figured out. Sometimes it just means planting your feet, trusting your purpose, and choosing to show up anyway, even when the outcome is unclear. And that decision to stay grounded and intentional, it shifted everything for me. So this is the segment of the podcast where I throw out some reflections. Something that you could think about, ponder on when you're in your moment of trying to figure it out. So, I have 5 of them. Number 1, when was the last time you paused to recognize the strength in your stillness? When was the last time you paused to recognize the strength in your stillness? And what did that moment teach you about yourself? What did it teach you about yourself? Number 2, what roots are holding you steady right now? And are they strong enough to support your growth? What roots are holding you steady right now? And are they strong enough to support your growth? Are you currently using your routines in rooted alignment, or just activity? Are you currently using your routines rooted in alignment, or just activity? What part of your life needs grounding before it can grow? What part of your life needs grounding before it can grow? And last but not least, if your foundation could speak, what would it say about the season you're in? If your foundation could speak, what would it say about the season you're in? So now let's move into section 2. Rooted does not mean stuck. Rooted does not mean stuck. So let's look at grounded versus stagnant. What's the difference? So staying grounded is about anchored, not immobile. Grounded is about being anchored, not immobile. It's choosing stillness with intention. You're rooted in purpose, guided by values, and moving forward with clarity, even if those moves are small and steady. Because being grounded means you know your why. As I shared earlier, my why. When you're grounded, you know your why. When you're grounded, you're steady in storms. You are steady in storms. When you're grounded, you pause with purpose. You pause with purpose. And when you're grounded, your growth is intentional, not rushed. Your growth is intentional, not rushed. Now, staying stagnant, on the other hand, is when you're stuck in place. When you're stuck in place. Not because you're being mindful, but because fear. You're overwhelmed. Or your indecision is holding you hostage. So being stagnant means you feel disconnected or numb. You feel disconnected or numb. It also means you avoid movement out of fear or fatigue. You avoid movement out of fear or fatigue. Being stagnant also means you wait for the perfect time that never comes. You wait for the perfect time that never comes. It also means you confuse comfort with peace. You confuse comfort with peace. So here's the key difference between being grounded and staying stagnant. Grounding is active alignment. I want to repeat that. Grounding is active alignment, while stagnation is passive delay. So see those key differences? Grounding is active alignment, and stagnation is passive delay. So when you're grounded, you might be standing still, but you're preparing. You're listening. You're rooting deeper, so that when it's time to move, you rise with strength and direction. You rise with strength and direction. When you're stagnant, the pause becomes a hiding place instead of a launching pad. When you're stagnant, the pause becomes a hiding place instead of a launching pad. So that moves us right into our quote of the day. Our quote of the day: trees, trees that are deeply rooted can sway in the storm without breaking. The same is true for us. Trees that are deeply rooted can sway in the storm without breaking. The same is true for us. Okay? Section 3. Ready to rise. Activating aligned action. Ready to rise. Activating aligned action. From stillness to steady progress. There's something sacred about stillness. It's where clarity is born, where God often speaks the loudest in the quiet, and where your roots go deep before your branches stretch wide. But stillness is not meant to be forever. Stillness is not meant to be forever. It's a season, not a sentence. It's a season, not a sentence. At some point, you'll feel that nudge, that inner stirring that says, it's time. It's time. Time to move. Time to act. Time to rise. That's how steady progress begins. Not in a rush, but with reverence. So it's time, guys. It is time. So here's how you move from stillness to progress without losing your peace. Number 1, you want to start small, but you want to start now. You want to start small, but start now. You don't need to leap. You just need to step. You don't need to leap. Just need to step. That one email, that 5-minute prayer walk, that first journal entry, those are rooted moves. Don't wait for momentum to show up. Create it with one intentional action today. Create it with one intentional action today. Small steps rooted in purpose lead to strong progress. Small steps rooted in purpose lead to strong progress. So number 2, align before you act. Align before you act. So this is number 2 of you moving from stillness to progress. Stillness to progress. Remember, stillness to progress. So we're on number 2, which is align before you act. Ask yourself, does this action align with who I am becoming? So before you act, this is the question you want to ask yourself. Does this action align with who I am becoming? Before you jump into busyness, check your motives. Let your next move be a reflection of clarity and not pressure. Because progress without alignment leads to burnout. Make sure you heard that. Progress without alignment means you're leaning towards burnout. But progress with alignment, that leads to a breakthrough. Now, I don't want you to miss this. Progress without alignment leads to burnout. But progress with alignment is a breakthrough. Okay? Stillness to progress. Number 3, honor your pace. Honor your pace. Steady doesn't mean slow. It means sustainable. Steady doesn't mean slow. It means sustainable. You don't have to match everyone's timeline. Remember that. You don't have to match everyone's timeline. If God planted the vision in you, trust that your timing will be just as divine. You are not behind. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are becoming. So number 4 of stillness to progress is reflect, then recalibrate. Reflect, then recalibrate. Progress isn't always linear. As you move, pause and reflect. What's working for you? What's draining you? What needs to shift? Progress gets stronger when you stay present and flexible. Present and flexible. Okay? So, you don't have to abandon your stillness to move forward. Okay? As we just discussed with the 4 tips, reflect and recalibrate, honor your pace, align before you act, start small but start now. You don't have to abandon your stillness to move forward. Let your stillness fill you. Let it fuel you. Let it feed you. Let it nurture in you. Let it teach you how to walk with peace, act with purpose, grow without striving. Rooted doesn't mean stuck, and moving doesn't mean messy. You can do both as long as you stay grounded and grow. Stay grounded and grow. So, last week during my talk show in the early mornings, I do a talk show on Wednesdays and Fridays on all the platforms. We talked about small wins to strong steps. Small wins to strong steps. Okay? That was one of the topics that we discussed last week. So I'm tying all of this going forward into the week. I'm tying it all into rooted to ready. So you want to be rooted to get ready. Okay? So if you've been journeying with me, I'm thinking about journaling. If you've been journeying with me from last week to this week, you know that last week we talked about celebrating the small wins and how those little victories, no matter how quiet or personal, are actually the foundation for something much greater. We called them strong steps because every time you honor your progress, you built momentum. So this week, we're talking about being rooted to get ready. So this week, we're taking that even deeper. Now that we have identified and celebrated those small wins, we're asking, how do we stay grounded while we keep growing? How do we stay grounded while keep growing? And it's not just about moving, it's about moving with intention. Being rooted means we don't let the pressure to rush rob us of our peace. We keep stepping, but now we're doing it from a place of clarity, connection, and confidence. So think of this week as the next layer. Last week, you took inventory of your wins. This week, you nurtured the foundation that's going to sustain your next steps. Last week, you took inventory of your small wins. This week, you will nurture the foundation that's going to sustain your next steps. So here are 3 practical ways to take aligned action this week. Number 1, you want to journal a root check. A root check. Take 10 quiet minutes this week to ask yourself, what am I truly rooted in right now? Is it fear or faith? Or peace or pressure? What am I truly rooted in right now? Is it fear or faith? Or peace or pressure? What do I need to return to the center, to regroup, to realign, so I can take my roots and move to my next steps? You can write freely. Let it be a moment of truth and release. This helps you pause before jumping into autopilot and ensures that your next steps are aligned and not just active. Number 2, have one brave conversation. Is there a conversation you've been avoiding? Maybe one that could bring healing, closure, or clarity. Whether it's setting a boundary, sharing your heart, or asking for what you need, choose to speak from your rooted self, not your reactive self. And that's very important. Speak from your rooted self and not your reactive self. This one action can free up emotional space and open new doors for you. Number 3, you want to start or restart something with intention. So you either want to start something new or restart that old idea that you had. But you want to do it with intention. What's one thing you've been planning, stalling on, or dreaming about? Maybe it's launching that project, returning to a routine, or making that one call that you've been avoiding. Pick just one. Start it this week. It doesn't have to be perfect, but purposefully. Okay? Set a timer for 30 minutes and begin. Because aligned action is not rushed. It honors where you've been while declaring where you're going. An aligned action is not rush. It honors where you've been while declaring where you're going. So as we start to close up today's episode, I want you to ask yourself another question. What keeps me rooted? And what's one area in my life that's calling me to rise? What keeps me rooted? And what's one area in my life that's calling me to rise? You can jot your answers down. You can sit with it during the day, but reflect on it reflect on your answer. What keeps me rooted, and what's one area in my life that's calling me to rise? So our closing affirmation is, I am rooted in purpose, steady in faith, and bold in my becoming. Each grounded step prepares me to rise in strength and intention. I am rooted in purpose, steady in faith, and bold in my becoming. Each grounded step prepares me to rise in strength and intention. Okay? So I have a call to action for you guys. I want to hear from you. I really want to hear from you. I get excited when I get comments. I get excited when people reach out to me, because I know that I am fulfilling my purpose, because I am touching one. I don't have to touch many, but as long as I touch one, it makes my heart smile. So now I want to hear from you, because your voice matters to me. How are you staying grounded while rising in this season? How are you staying grounded while rising in this season? Okay? If something spoke to your heart today, drop a comment on Spotify, or if you're listening on YouTube. If you'd rather reflect quietly, you can email me at princess48ray@gmail.com. That's princess48ray@gmail.com. Or slide into my DMs on Instagram at Princess Ray Ray. No matter how you show up, know that I see you. I'm rooting for you, and I truly mean that. So reach out to me to let me know how you're staying grounded while rising in this season. So, all right, my beautiful people, that brings us to the end of today's episode. If today's conversation gave you something to reflect on, I'll leave you with this final thought. Please, please stay rooted while you're rising. Very simple. Please stay rooted while you are rising. I would love for you to share this conversation with someone who might need a little encouragement today. And if you found value in this space, I would love to have you join me next week for more conversations that nourish the mind and soothe the soul. I'll be back next Monday, June 28th, with Season 1, Episode 16. Did you hear me? Episode 16 of Cup of Cocoa and Chat, the podcast. Episode 16 of Cup of Cocoa and Chat, the podcast. So mark your calendar, pour your favorite drink, and meet me right here for more good vibes, meaningful conversation, and purposeful filled moments. Until next time, please take care of yourself, stay encouraged, And as always, peace, blessings. I love you guys, and I mean it. Bye for now.